Daisy.
Warning, this podcast contains murder. And maybe a spoiler or two. Or all of them.
Oh.
What's up, everyone, and welcome to the SCN TV podcast for Scream, the TV series, Season 1, Episode 2. Hello, Emma. I'm your host, Dom. With me, my co-host, Kim.
I look bright.
Woo!
Hi.
How's it going?
Good.
So what'd you think of this episode?
Start off with a bang, as the last episode did. I was surprised exactly how that went down. I thought the kill was a little different. I mean, got a lot of the slasher slicing, and this time it was, made it look like a suicide.
Yeah, it was.
So he
I liked the whole fake phone call thing going on because it clearly wasn't Audrey on the phone.
Yeah, you got the little bit of like a crackly, like weird thing at the beginning, and you're like, oh, maybe her phone's messed up, and you're like, wait, no. And as the conversation went on a little bit more and more, and you went, no, that's not where this is going.
It kind of had a little bit of Scream 3 in it because you remember the voice changing thing that they had on Scream? They had different voices programmed into it.
Yeah.
So it brought me back to that, and I was like, ooh, it's gonna be one of these. I like it.
But no, it's a little bit different this time. It wasn't. He made it look like she's committed suicide.
Right. This is our third murder, right?
Yes.
Because we had Nina and her supposed boyfriend. We do know that it is a male. That's all we know. We don't know for sure if it's her boyfriend or not. But his head went flying into the jacuzzi. And now we have Rachel. So
I don't think Nina had boyfriends. I think she had toys.
Well, yeah.
That just seems that's the personality that they were giving her off.
Yeah, I could see it.
That it's sad. Like the beginning, I feel that it's sad that it looks like she was a cutter. So it wasn't far-fetched for her to kind of, this whole suicide thing.
It really fit. It was just like, yep, suicide. But, upon closer investigation, Emma's mother, Margaret, a.k.a. Daisy, she did the autopsy. And she could tell that it wasn't, she did not break her neck by hanging from the ceiling fan. So she thinks there's a little more to it, so she's got to look into it. So that's going to be interesting because her daughter, Emma, feels really, really guilty over this. To the point where she tried to apologize to Audrey, and Audrey's just like, gives off her little mouthy response, and Emma was like, no, I am taking full responsibility. I cannot feel sorry enough, all this. And it actually left Audrey speechless for, like, the first time ever.
Oh, and fun fact, just out of the middle of nowhere, because we're talking about Aubrey, she's actually an iZombie.
She was an iZombie, and she's also in Arrow.
Oh yeah.
So
I just thought I found that out, and I'm like, oh look.
Yep.
I mean, again, we get the especially because it's big right now with the whole cyberbullying. And so you're getting that whole, again, the power of the internet, how it affects people. You're seeing the nastiness of what the internet can produce.
I still feel like kids these days aren't that nasty about that kind of stuff.
No, but here was the thing.
I still feel like this show is set like 3 years ago or something.
You still got that, though. She went to a Christian school.
Yep.
They're going to be just as awful.
Right. No, I get the Christian school. That one I get. But
that's where I think a lot of those bad posts were coming from.
Could be.
Was that, it's in that, in the eyes of, if you're brought up that way, it's wrong.
I did like the comment that Audrey made about her relationship not being recognized in the county of
Hmm.
Lakeview or Lakeside or whatever
Yeah,
town they're in.
the city. Uh-huh.
And then Noah was just like, "Oh, a gay rights joke." I just laughed. I thought it was really funny. Because there's a lot of that self-aware kind of humor in this, and
Yeah.
because we had the stuff going on between Noah and Riley, and Riley goes, "Oh, you're a ninja," and Riley goes, "That's
Yeah.
racist," and I was just like, "Oh no,
It's like, oh my god.
you did not just go there." And she's just like, "No, I'm kidding, just like whatever." But I love that whole thing. But yeah, Noah at the beginning of the episode, we saw him question for the murder, knowledge of about the murderer of Brendan James, and oh, that was a whole fucking spiel and a half.
Well, because it's like you know a lot. You've been you research stuff, and it's like, why are you researching this stuff? Like some people are just curious. I used to have a book about this big that was purely on serial killers.
Used to.
My ex ran away with it. I
I
know.
was like, you have that under your bed right now.
No, I don't. I can't leave anything under my bed. Remember, it floods down here.
That's true. But then Noah was going on. Then when he's in, I don't. What class is that exactly? Do we even know? Is it like an English class or is it like a film class?
Um,
I was under the impression it was a film class, but now I'm not so sure anymore.
I don't know because it looks like he was because we know he was taking like computer apps or some kind of computer class. So he's
Hmm.
talking about that whole app with the stars and
Well, the
stuff.
teacher's Mr. Branson. That's the same one that Brooks got the fling with, right?
Yes.
Yeah, which that fling is back on. So,
Yes.
but
Seems it's going that direction.
yeah, in that class, Noah was just like, "Oh yeah, well, murder is a lonely game. This is the age of social media. So what good is it if I just murder somebody without sharing it with the world?"
Now that I've seen Scream 4, it
Hmm.
really does play off of that whole concept. And I was like, oh, look, okay, now this kind of makes sense. Now
Right.
that I've
So,
actually sat down.
so now that you
Oh,
saw Scream 4, I just got to sidetrack. What was your opinion on that?
um, I like I all the same characters. They still continue to go with the story. I was actually very surprised on the killer. I was like, wow, okay, that was not who I would expect to go there at all. And then there was, I know, obviously we realized I'm like, okay, so there's two. That came clear quickly, and I was like, oh, so who are the two? And then it being like the niece and the creepy nerdy dude.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just I absolutely love that one. I think that's my favorite of the Scream movies, and I just like Sydney's line at the end: "Don't fuck with the original." You know,
Oh, I know.
it's just it's so good. So, but the on the same kind of note with that, the TV series does not mean we're not getting Scream 5 and 6. Kevin Williams uh, actually, there was just an interview a couple days ago that I was reading from him, and he said he's still on. He still wants to do 5 and 6. So I totally think it could be done. And because the TV series is set in this kind of like alternate, it's not like an alternate universe or anything, but it's like a alternate town. It's
It's a
it's
new
not.
timeline. It's a new. I
It,
mean,
I mean, for
they're
all we
all
know, it's in the same universe. I'm not
yeah.
saying it's in a separate place. I think the events of Scream happened in this world that they're living in. This town is just not affected by that, and vice versa yet. Anyway, I mean, it could down the road, but
I mean, they could mix them together if they wanted to down the line somewhere. But I mean, right now they are, though they do play off each other. They do have the same, thought process. They do, but being that they are two totally different stories technically. So yeah,
yeah,
but they could play if they do, like play off the movie into the show and the show into the movie.
yeah,
They wanted to.
yeah. But then we like I mentioned before, we had Riley and Noah. We had them going on. Noah really just has no game whatsoever,
At all.
none.
I felt bad for him,
He even calls himself out on it.
which was funny. That was really funny. He's like, God, I'm bad.
He's
Uh,
he called himself a regular man slut.
that was funny.
No, no, I'm not a virgin. I'm a regular man slut.
Like we can't tell whether that
And then she
chose.
jumped his bones.
Yep.
That was so awkward, though. Like, oh, let's meet at the track field, and then let me turn the lights off. And
I really thought that's. I was like, oh, 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 oh. He slipped through again. That's the second time we got where he got in the position where we thought he was gonna die.
yeah,
Only not.
yeah. So, but I mean, he's not a virgin anymore. I'm gonna assume. So, he's fair game. Because
Oh, oh yeah.
that's the rules, right? You know, as soon as you have sex, you're done.
Yes, it's usually yeah. It's usually sex. That's one of those things in horror,
It's one of
especially
those
slashers.
rules. Yeah,
Well, like, oh, oh, you're having sex. You're gonna die.
yeah.
Um,
So we
or
had
what is it, instinct for? It's I'm gay.
we had yeah, right. We had Kyle William Livingston comment on our last video, and he thinks that Riley will turn out to be Ghostface.
Mhm.
So, what do you
I
think? What do
replied
you
to
think of that? I mean, Riley has access to shut the lights off in the track field. Like, what
hmm
else does she have access to?
And she did seem really interested in that whole. She's obviously into horror.
Yeah,
She's got some knowledge, though she was picking up more knowledge from Noah. She was interested in what Noah had to say about his take on serial killers and his take on horror movies and the whole slasher genre. And so I definitely, at the same time, she is the unexpected. Right now, she is, there's no anything leading towards her being that, the killer.
right.
So being the unexpected would put, oh, okay, that'd be the twist. But at the same time, you're putting her at that twist. I'm like, okay, so you're the least thought process. I'd like to see if they do want to play on maybe pushing it maybe her towards that direction. Like all of a sudden now we're like, oh, well maybe it is her, maybe it isn't her. I want to see every person. I mean, now right now we're thinking everyone because obviously everyone's fair game, either
Right.
death or being the killer. I want to start seeing everyone being pushed to that possibility. Like,
I don't
oh,
know if
make
we're
you
gonna have.
think of everyone.
I don't know if we're gonna have time for that because
Mhm.
there's only 8 episodes left this season. 8.
It's a short.
We're what 8? I'm like, I'm in shock. I'm sad, happy, disappointed, upset, and joyful all at the same time.
So we also got an introduction to this, the TV series version of Gale Weathers. We got
Piper Shaw.
Piper Shaw, our podcaster.
Yes.
So that's their different direction instead of being a uh what was she was the
News reporter.
news reporter. That was the word I was looking for. And now we have a podcaster bringing it up into like the newer age of things.
Right. Yeah. And apparently everybody listens to her podcast.
True crime.
Yep.
Like that. Yeah. Podcast on killers and crime and right now like what is the big thing?
I don't know. I don't know. We gotta see if we get a hold of the actress Amelia Rose Blair.
Mhm.
See if she'll come on the podcast and she could totally just play her character Piper the entire time. That'd be great.
That'd be hilarious. I'd be super entertained with it.
I will tweet her. Not that I expect much, but I will tweet her, and we will
Hey,
see what happens.
there's always a chance. You never know.
There is.
Are you gonna tweet it right now?
I will tweet her after this
Okay.
episode. So I mean, outside of that, we got a lot out of Emma this episode. She tried to apologize to Audrey, like I mentioned, because she still feels guilty over the video. And then she's kind of like going about her day. She's at work where she bumps into Piper. Piper starts stirring up, some dark stuff with her family, the whole Brandon James stuff. And she's like, I don't want to talk about it. You respect my privacy. I'll keep you caffeinated, kind of thing.
Oh, we find out her.
And
I didn't know if that was before, but her dad is the survivor.
yeah,
I was like,
yeah,
whoa,
which is interesting.
yeah.
So, um, I'm curious if her dad is her real dad.
I would start with the call at the end. I guess we'll probably get in the in at the end, but when there's obviously a bunch of shit going on. There's some
Yeah.
secrets. There's some things. I mean, obviously we already know that she doesn't know that her mom is Daisy.
My right. The guaranteed she doesn't know that. My speculation, and I'm gonna call this right now. It's way too early to call this, but Emma's father is Brandon James. I'm calling it. Bum bum bum.
I thought it. Like I can't say I didn't think it,
Yeah.
but at the same, I'm like, uh, how. I mean, obviously we knew when like with what we seen, the Daisy had or well had
We saw
some
her run away at the high school. We saw him get beat up, and then we saw at some point in the future she lured him to the docks. Now we don't
she
know
had some
anything that happened
sympathy.
between that.
We don't, and there was
So
some sympathy there. There was
right,
obviously some sympathy.
right. So something
Now,
was going on. So we didn't get the full story. We're not going to. Um, Probably for a couple seasons. From what I found out, is this season or this series has already been greenlit for 5 seasons. Um, so that does not mean they're definitely going to do 5 seasons. They could
mhm,
decide, oh, this isn't getting the ratings we wanted, and they could
of
cancel
course.
it. But they're looking at least 5 seasons right now, minimum.
Wow.
So they're gonna spread this out. That they're not gonna reveal any big crazy thing. I mean, they
No,
could.
okay.
I could see them ending this season with something big and crazy, but we're not gonna get the answer of who the killer is, or anything like that in this
I mean, they got to
season.
give it something big towards the end. I mean,
They said they're
obviously.
gonna reveal something about the killer, but they're not gonna reveal who the killer is. I know that much.
Or we're gonna
So
get more episodes like the shitty ending.
I
I
don't
would call
know.
it shitty. It wasn't shitty. That's a little bit
This
dramatic
ending
of a
was really
word.
good. Yeah, but we'll get there in a minute.
But
So
all
Emma,
right.
she's at work, and then she gets scared at the alley at work, right? And all of a sudden, Will, her ex boyfriend, shows up, claims that he got a text message from her, shows her some text she had on her phone,
Hmm.
and he basically convinces her to go to the basketball game, and she's sitting there kind of rooting him on. Um, the guy she kissed at the party, what is his name? Is it Kieran? I wasn't sure.
It's Kieran. Yeah, it's
Kieran.
Kieran.
Okay.
He's up to something.
He starts planting all these seeds in Emma's head about, what Will's intentions were, how it was convenient that he showed up, how he asked this favor, and, you
Well, he's
know,
kind of right. It was very convenient. And then there's the text message.
right.
So there was something going on there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, whether it was, him playing games or doing whatever, or we knew someone who was in the alley.
Yeah. Yep.
We don't know who, we don't know what that situation was, we don't know anything. We just know that person was sitting and then he moved and he was definitely acting creepy.
Yeah. That is for sure. So we had all that going on, but then right after Kieran has this chat with her, Will wins, the game, comes up, kisses Emma. Kieran leaves, he gets jealous, whatever. Emma gets kind of not mad, but frustrated, I guess is good.
She doesn't know what to do.
Yeah, she's
Um,
confused and
she's
frustrated. So,
torn.
so she's confuzzled and confuzzlerated, and she leaves. So we don't see her again until she's back at home. And I'm gonna say
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now, this ending that they gave us, I yelled at my TV. I literally yelled at it. I go, "You cannot end there!"
I was confused. I was confused. I had to stop. Okay, because I was okay. So I got a brand new phone, so I'm playing my phone, and I'm watching the ending, and I'm like, wait, and it goes into like the preview, like it restarted,
Yep.
and I was like, wait, what? I had to go back to the ending, and make sure that was the ending. Like I had
Yeah.
to make sure that it wasn't some mess up or some weird thing that it glitched out or some crap.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, What?
So,
You
I
just
mean,
ended in the middle of a conversation.
I loved it, but I hated it all at the same time. So we had Emma in the house. The alarm goes off for the kitchen door. You know, the GPP security system kicks in. You know, it's saying door open, door open, door open. She goes and closes it. She locks it, shuts the alarm off. Phone call comes through. Guy says he's from GPP security, and starts chatting with her, making small talk, and then starts getting a little creepy. You
He was
know,
creepy
like,
off
oh
the
yeah,
bat.
you look tired.
What?
You know, I knew as soon as I was like, that's the killer.
Oh, I
It
knew.
was
Well,
like
I
way
knew.
before that, but yeah,
Yeah, it was the instant that like it started immediately. You could tell. Like
yeah.
immediately, it went from being like started just talking. And wait a minute.
When he said something about GPP security, I was like, oh, that's the guy, that's the killer.
Because the voice.
Yeah.
It was the voice. You can tell in the voice immediately.
So she's like, I got your phone number. I'm gonna call the cops, and he's like, yeah, go ahead and do that. This guy Art is gonna be really confused who works at GPP security, and she's just like, oh, well, what do you want from me? And that's when he starts going off on his spiel about how everybody around her is lying to her. And just goes, see you soon. And the episode's over, and I'm like, what? I screamed. They go, you can't end like that. I sat there staring at the TV in disbelief for about 3 seconds and then screamed at it. But yeah.
I was waiting for the patent line. Do you like horror movies? Because he kept talking about what do you like to watch? What do you like to? I'm like, just say it. Just fucking say it. Just say it.
What's your
And
favorite scary movie? You
he
know?
didn't. And it was obviously they didn't want to go that direction,
No.
but not yet. We might eventually get it, but it was leaning toward that direction. Like you could tell. Like obviously, if you're any other fan, because you're like, and he did say there was to talk about horror movies, and it was so like,
Yeah.
oh shit.
So I don't know. I feel like this episode hit its groove better than the first episode. This one felt more like a series that's going to carry on. That I'm going to be more invested in than the first episode. First episode had more of the scream, blood, kind of stuff going on. This one didn't really have the murder. So I'm going to take the two, balance them out, and say that the two episodes together made a really good first impression on me.
Well, yeah. I mean, like we said, we only got one kill, and that kill was unlike the slasher. It was a regular murder made it look like suicide. So it went a little off the the beaten path as a horror beaten path. So it's like, oh well, so this is now a murder show, not a slasher show.
Yep. You have anything else for this episode before we get into next week?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head.
All right. Well, next week the episode is called "Wanna Play a Game." Instantly makes me think of Saw. So there better be at least one Saw reference in this episode, or I'm not going to be happy. In it, Emma discovers that her mom, Margaret, is keeping additional secrets from her, leading the killer to challenge her to a dangerous game.
Ooh. Dun 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 dun.
Should be interesting. I'm looking really forward to it.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, I think that about wraps things up. Any final thoughts?
Who's gonna die next? Dun.
Not me.
So do you think we're gonna get a murder per episode?
I'm hoping. I don't know if it's going to be major characters every episode because they run out really quickly.
Yeah, I don't see it being major characters. I
But I don't see the teacher lasting to the end of the season.
Well, going in the route of things, it's either going to be him or it's going to be her. That's what I think. But
unless he is Brendan James.
plastic surgery.
He's too young. Yeah, anyway, Cam, where can the people find you?
You can find me at HUFFITYPUFFITY. Also find me at my design website, which is bria.carbonite.com.
Excellent. You can find me down below at Phenomenon, PHENOMEDOM. You could also find both of us and more on Facebook, Gmail, G+, Twitter, MySpace, and right here on YouTube at /ASO TV Podcast for some more podcasts for some of your favorite TV shows. Stop laughing at me.
You're only one on my face. Oh, and they made the Facebook joke saying, who uses Facebook?
Yeah. It's because kids these days, they're not on Facebook. They're not. They're all on Snapchat and Instagram and get off my yard.
Get off my yard. Awesome. Let's make it sound old. Yeah, old.